Hey everyone, and welcome back to Salem. In this episode, we're going to be going over cotton farming. Cotton farming is a fantastic way to make money both early and late game, and I will be teaching you the easiest way to make some cotton fields and some decent bonuses that you can use to maximize your yield from the cotton fields. So cotton farming is really just a great way to make money pretty much at any stage in the game. But for beginners, you don't really have many stats or skills, so cotton farming is probably the best option to go for a constant flow of, a constant supply of money. So I will be teaching you how to do this. We're going to get right into this commentary. First, you're going to want to open up your studying tab. So that was Control-T. And I already have learned these skills, but I will show you what you need to learn. You will need to learn pretty much 2 skills. If I remember correctly, you will need to learn butchery, and you'll also need to learn cotton planting. Butchery is a somewhat optional skill. What this lets you do is it lets you get steaks from animals that you are able to hunt, and it also lets you get bones. And the bones are what we really need because the bones let us make bone meal. And bone meal is something you can either buy from other people or make yourself. I prefer just making it myself as it's free and it's very easy to do. All you have to do is kill an animal and you get its bones, and then you come to this grinder and you grind the bones up to get the bone meal, and it's a great fertilizer for your fields, which I will explain in a few minutes. So the next skill you're going to want is, of course, cotton planting. Cotton planting is self-explanatory. It just gives you the ability to plant the cotton fields. Okay? So after you've gotten the required skills, you're going to make sure you have a wooden hoe. It's just a basic wooden tool. Just go to your tools menu and craft that. Once you have that, make sure you have a few seeds of cotton, few stacks. I recommend having at least 50 because that is pretty much the minimum amount that you will need to start off. But in the main server which we play in, which is Providence, you can pretty much get cotton seeds for free from other players. A lot of players either drop them or feed them to their turkeys or they have a lot of other uses in terms of feeding or pretty much trash use. So if you ask anyone, I'm sure they would give you a few stacks for free, but if you want to be the hardcore player, I will show you right now where to get it. Oh, I am not at my claim. Okay, so I will teleport. I'm going to port to Providence. I'm going to show you where you can buy seeds, and this is also an area that you can buy other items such as a pickaxe, guns, different things that you might not be able to get from other players. They're more of a store-only items, NPC items, and I will show you in a minute where to get these things. But yeah, this is pretty much how, if you were starting the game with no one helping you or any trading being done, this is probably what you would have to do. So you're going to go north from the main spawn point of Providence, and you're going to see there's a lot of NPCs around this area. You can see there's the miner, and this guy is a farmer, so if I right-click him right now, you will see a buy menu came up, okay? And he has 50 seeds of cotton, which is just enough for one field, and that's 175 silver. Now, that seems like a lot, and to be honest, it really is. You're only getting 50 seeds, which is enough for one field. So what the point of that is that once you harvest your cotton, you're supposed to get a lot more seeds and eventually build up your own collection of seeds to use. But I prefer just either buying them or getting them for free from other players. If you have to buy them, I'm sure they won't cost more than 5 to 10 silver per stack. Very cheap item to obtain. So that's pretty much it. I hope I clicked the right teleport, because sometimes I accidentally click the town teleport. We'll see in a second. Oh, I did. Thank God. Okay, so we're back at home, and it's time to start farming. So you have your seeds, you have your skills, and lastly you will need to have hummus. Okay, so when you first make your fields, you're going to need 5 hummus per field. I'm going to make 6 fields because I have just enough, I believe, for 6, and that's actually a pretty good amount. So I will show you how to make these fields, but first we will have to plan out where we want our fields. I'm going to put my fields in unclaimed area because they don't decay, which is, as I told you, I believe in the last episode, decay is when an object will take damage over time from being off of a personal claim or a town claim. But fields do not take any decay damage, if I remember correctly. So you can pretty much just plant it wherever you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control L. I'm using the custom client I mentioned before. And I'm going to make, let's see, I believe it's, each field is 4. So if we want 6 fields, we'll do a 12 by 8. 12 by 8 area. And that should be just enough for 3 across and 2 wide fields, which will make exactly 6. Okay, so that should be just about right. I'm going to have to move that over actually because there's a tree in the way right there. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know if you can see here, but this is the area selection tool, and I just dragged a 12 by 8 area, and I'm going to press the release button so that it stops moving, so I can just pretty much walk around now. And this is the area I've selected. It's a very useful tool. It shows how flat it is, and this one's perfectly flat, so that's great. It doesn't really matter for farming, but in general, this is a great tool to use for base building and other things that you're doing around the base. So now I'm going to make my fields, and I have the wooden hoe, so it will take a lot less time. If you don't have one of these, it takes significantly longer. Okay, so what you will want to do is make sure you have food, and yeah, pretty much that tool, that wooden hoe. Okay, so the way you will till your fields is by looking at the center of the 4x4 plot. So this area I'm looking at is a 4x4. I'm going to click in the center, so 2 in and 2 wide and 2 long, and I will click the very center, and it will till, as you can see, the very center. I believe each till spends like 5 phlegm or something. It's pretty hard work, I guess. Yep, exactly 5. Okay, so you will probably want to heal after every 2 fields, depending on your bios, your humors. I'm sorry. Mine is at 15, so I will probably heal once every 2 fields. This is going to take a moment, but I will just keep going on here, and I will explain what I'm going to do after. So what I'm going to do after is after I've tilled these fields, I will take my hummus out of the hummus bin, and I will pretty much the same way I put the branches in the fireplace or in the kiln. I will just hold shift, and I will right click the fields until all of the hummus is placed in. Now the amount of hummus that you use and the amount of seeds that you use is based off a percentage, or I guess you could say, yeah, either percentage or a buff that's called it's called the upkeep. And what the upkeep does is it determines how much seeds and hummus you will use overall. And I believe at this level, probably the lowest we can go is about 50%. So instead of using 5, I believe we use 3 hummus, and we also use only 25 seeds instead of 50. So it saves us a lot of time in general, and some of our resources as well. So it's very useful to lower your upkeep as you farm. So the way you lower upkeep is by using another fertilizer, which I will explain. It's the wood choppings. So you will get all that information in just a moment. So I'm going to cancel out of my area selection. I made my 6 fields. I'm going to heal up a little bit, and now I will show you all the hummus. So I'm just going to grab all of this. This should be fine. I'm going to move very slow for a moment. So as you can see, I'm going to right click, hold shift and right click on my fields, and I am just dropping all of this to prepare my fields to be planted. And this is what you need to do. You can't plant your fields unless you've prepared it with hummus. Okay, so I'm almost done. Just have a few more left. And there we go. There you have it. So now I am ready to plant my cotton. And I'm going to plant 1 stack and explain what's going to happen. You're going to see a plenty. It's called a plenty bonus, and you will see it's probably going to say +0 or a very low number, maybe like 11 or something. Oh, that's a +1. Pretty bad. But what that is the amount of yield you will get. So you start at a base plenty of 100%, and that's exactly 100% yield, meaning I will get 100% of the base amount of crop. So for cotton, you get 5 cotton balls per 100%, or in that case, as you can see, that's 20% for 1 cotton ball. So for every 20% of plenty I have added on later, I will get an extra cotton ball, and that will help me increase my amount of cotton cloth that I can weave later, which is a sellable item which you can sell to the NPC stalls. I believe it sells for 15 silver each. So it's very great to produce a lot of cotton because you can go straight away. You don't even have to worry about interacting with other players. You can sell right to the NPC stall for some money. Okay, so the bonus is actually determined based off of your stocks and cultivars level, and I believe it works like if you take your stocks and cultivars level minus 27, subtract 1, and that will be your maximum bonus. I believe that's how it works. I don't think it can reach the max bonus that you have, which I don't think it can reach 27% for me. I believe it can reach 26%, meaning my maximum will pretty much just be 1 extra cotton ball if I hit 20% or more. So as you can see, it's a great idea if you're going to be a farmer to keep increasing that stocks and cultivars level, and you will pretty much guarantee yourself an extra plenty bonus that will probably help you a lot. Okay, so I'm going to plant the rest of these. This is very easy labor. I don't think it really spends much. It spends a few points of your phlegm. There you go. I got an 18. That doesn't really help either. Anything over a 20 right now will be great. So there you go. I got a 22%, and that will be an extra cotton ball for free, pretty much. So, as I said before, if you're planning on becoming a farmer, just start raising that stocks and cultivars level as high as you can, and just keep going. You will get a great amount of bonus, and it will help you a lot as you go, not even with cotton planting, just in general farming. So I will now show you the next fertilizer that I use. So we've only used the cotton seeds, no fertilizers yet. Okay, so the next thing we are going to want to do is now here comes the butchery skill. And the butchery skill, as I told you, is where I use bones as a fertilizer, so I'll show you what I do here. So I've taken 1 dead rabbit. I've already cut up the other ones, but I'm going to take 1 dead rabbit and I'm going to butcher it. Okay, and you'll see I get another bone and I get a steak. And a steak is something I can cut up into 2 cuts instead of getting just the 1 cut from before. So it's a very useful skill as well for food. So now I have my 4 bones. I will go to my my crafting menu, and I believe it's in processing and materials in bone meal. I will craft that bone meal, and it takes a little while. Not too long, but it's definitely a pretty grindy process. No pun intended. Ha ha ha. Okay. So yeah, I have to wait a few moments for this, and once this is done, I will be putting the bone meal on the field, and you will see I will get a percentage added to the plenty, because bone meal gives plenty. And the way fertilizers work, as you probably don't understand them just yet, I will explain. So I'm going to use 1 use on this field right here. Okay. So I will show you what I mean. So I have 1 use here, and it gave me exactly 100 plenty. Okay, and that is the base use of bone meal. So what happens is the first time you use a fertilizer on a field, any fertilizer, you will get 100% of its bonus. It's not always going to be 100% as in like 100% plenty, but it might be 50% plenty or 200% plenty. And then the second use, I believe, will give you only half of what you got the last time. And it keeps going on like that, so it'll be half of a half of a half of a half. So as you can see, based on what you really want is what you're going to use first. So I really want to get plenty because that's the most important thing to me, is to get a lot of that cotton. So I'm going to use the bone meal first. And I will show you in a moment how that works with the double bonus. So I'm going to use all of these bone meals on the field. So all you have to do is pretty much pick it up and right click the field. Very easy. And I don't think I will have enough to use a second use, but I will explain the use in a second. So as I told you before, you get half of the effectiveness used. So since I've already used all my bone meal, it takes 0.6 kg, almost half a kilogram to use the fertilizer, and I only have 0.4 left, so I'm not going to be able to show you with the bone meal. But I will show you with wood chopping. So wood choppings reduce your upkeep by a base of 20%. As you can see, my upkeep is at 100%. So now that I've already used a fertilizer, okay, so keep with me. And now that I've already used a fertilizer, the second fertilizer that I use will only have half of its original base percentage. So this reduces your upkeep by 20%, okay? So when I use it the second time, it should only give 10%. And as you can see, it only gave that 10%, okay? So I'm going to do that for all these fields. It's a good idea. I'm not going to do it in this video. I'll probably do it off camera. But it's definitely a good idea to use a lot of wood chippings at the very end once you finish all of your fertilizers, because you want to get your fields to around 50 as soon as you can. You might not be able to do it in the first shot, but I'd say within the first 2 or 3 plantings you should be able to get the upkeep down to 50%. And that will save you a lot of your seeds, and it will save you a lot on your hummus. So it's a very good idea to make sure you have that upkeep down. And as I said before, you want to focus on your main priority, which will either be plenty or speed, most likely for the first few. Speed's also important, but we can't use any speed fertilizers yet because it requires the mining skill, and I will show that in another video. So that's pretty much it for this video. We've already planted the cotton seeds. We've gotten our bonuses in. I've explained how the fertilizers work. So in the next video, we'll most likely be getting into a little bit of mining. I did not do that yet because we don't have enough money to even buy a pickaxe yet. But hopefully by the next video we can scrounge up a few hundred silver and get to that pickaxe as soon as possible. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.